Good morning. We are on a new project today, and it is my personal house again. Still, we have to remove this little roof doodad here, and we have to extend the deck. That way tomorrow we can get that breaker panel changed to a larger service. That way it can accommodate both the lower house and the upper house. That way we can have a stove and a dryer at the same time. So no further ado, let's get into tearing this apart. Okay, let's catch you up and do some explaining on what we've done so far. For the most part, we've done the hard work, which is demolishing and taking away the old structure that was there. So we took away the roof, and then we've taken away the siding that we need to get to where the porch is going to be attached, which is this is the ledger board, and it's going to be screwed directly to the house. Right now, it's just temporarily screwed with framing screws, but we'll come back through with some lags, some structural screws, and put it in to, you can see what my little arrow is down here. Those are where the floor joists are on the inside, so I can run a lag all the way in and be really strong and tight to the building. Now keep this nice and sturdy. Now as far as trying to keep the water off of, so when it comes down the siding, it's going to dribble down in here. We don't want it to sit inside there because it'll rot this board out, and so we're going to put in a piece of flashing. Eventually we're gonna come back and fix the siding, so I can do that later, but I'm gonna put a piece of flashing in here now, hopefully, which is this stuff over here. It's just a piece of metal, and it's L-shaped, and then it has a slight curve down right here. We're gonna stick that right on top of this board, and so the water, if it gets in here, will run out on top of this board and down instead of into the house, which is not what we want. And then you can see I've already marked, let's make it closer, you can see the 2 lines in the X. That's where the joist is going to be for the porch coming out this way. It's going to match the same joist coming out this way on this porch. So there's going to be one on the end, 2, 3, 4, and one right up next to that over there. Hopefully you can hear me with those trucks driving by. And then our basic shape for the porch is going to be just a square, but it's not going to come out the full distance because we have to be able to walk down the steps. And so it's going to be a compromise between enough height for the deck, and I got interrupted by a phone call there, but enough height for the deck to walk under, and enough depth of the deck that we can get enough distance between the panel and the end of it. So let's get back into it. Okay, let's stop the music and let me explain what's going on right here. So as you can see, I've done some flashing detail. I've got this piece, which is the bottom below the rim joist. So once this is installed, this is going to sit right above this. I'm not going to sit it on it. I left a 1/4 inch gap on purpose. That way, when I set this, when I screw it to the wall here, it's going to seal. Nice thing about this stuff, this black stuff, which is, if you remember when I did the window project not too long ago, I used this to wrap the window sills with. So this is extra from that job. Just had a little 8 feet left over or whatever from the job. And so I'm using it for this. Now if I had more of it, I probably would use it up here too. But this is just some stainless flashing that I had left over from from a gutter job I did. And so I used it and tucked it up underneath of the siding as best I could, and then brought this down, installed this, and then taped over top of it. And this should keep any water from going in. And when my screws penetrate this rubber, it should seal those as well. Not that I'm worried about water getting in there, but it's always good to do it as best you can. So yeah. So now we can install the ledger board, and it should be all nice and watertight, and all this flashing around everything else will be done once we do the siding. So let's install this and then jump back into making some progress. Okay, it's the next day here, and we've got a platform on top of here because our electrician is coming today to do the breaker panel. We're going to be exchanging that, and I'm going to be helping him today. But got all those straps put up, and we got the base plate nailed on, so it's ready to go. So now all we're waiting on is the deck boards to come in. We ordered those yesterday, and they should be within a week, but hopefully it does take a day or two to come in. Then we can install those up there, and then install the handrail, and it looked like it never didn't have that. So the head clearance is great. It doesn't look like it from here, but when you're walking down, this is my head compared to this, so it's a good 6 to 8 inches away, which is nice because you just be a lot taller than me, and I'm over 6 foot tall, so that's good. So anyways, maybe I'll get some videos of us working on the electrical today, and getting some more done maybe on the handrail while he's doing stuff that I can't help him with. So anyways, let's see what we can get into. Well guys, the electrician's just left, so we've got the new 200 amp panel installed, which is super nice. The inspector will be coming out tomorrow or the next day to give us a final approval and all that stuff, but it's looking good. It's huge. I mean, the last one was only like this tall. This one's like massive, and it's like 6 inches deep, so pretty big. And then on the inside of apartment A here, we've got to patch that now because we had to access the back of it to get all those wires fed into the back of that new breaker panel, but it looks good. The deck, we're still waiting on the boards to come in. Those will be in hopefully soon. They might even be in already, so I have to go check and pick up the delivery stuff. But it's gonna look good once we get that handrail all in, and the tenant might be able to put his little tiny grill over there, and they could pass stuff through the window. It'd be really nice. So it won't be as unfunctional as I'm thinking it is going to be, but it should look fine. But I would make it wider, I would make it bigger, but those steps just are in the way. So anyways, once we get those boards back from Home Depot, I'll continue on with the video and get it finished and help it look nice. So anyways, catch you later. Okay, we are back, and let me take a quick pause to show you what we're doing. We are replacing the handrail post. That one was already original one. I just relocated it to there. It's a little off on the measurements, but it's going to blend in just nicely for now, unless I want to replace it later. But I'm matching this new pole off of those existing ones. No, none of them are exactly the same. Like you can see on the top of this pole, there's only like a tiny bit of a bevel, but up there and down here, there's like a 1/2 inch to 3/4 inch bevel. And so we copied kind of as best we could and gave it a nice 1/2 inch straight bevel as much as possible, trying to match up the corners. And then they did the same on top. And then on the inside of this, we've notched out 1.5 inches and 1.5 inches, and that slides right over that. And the reason we're doing that is because we want the reveal, put this down so I don't fall on my head. We want the reveal to be 1.5 inches, just like the rest of them. They have 1.5 inches trimmed out, but I want it to come out this way and this way. So I did a double 2x6 here, which is not my favorite when you have two butt ends right here, but this is going to cover up one of them. But that's matching the other deck. So I don't want to change the design to make it look better and not match the deck. So we're matching the deck. The double 2x6s will give it some more rigidity on the front. And then I also wanted to bump out the porch another 1.5 inches. So that gave me that as well. So the meter ended up being, or the panel ended up being 6 inches instead of 4 inches. So I needed to make up a little bit of space to make it pass code. And so we're gonna put these handrails on, and then we're still waiting on the boards to come in, but they should be coming in very soon, I hope. So I'm gonna make up another one of these, a little more simple because I don't have to do the double notch, just a single notch. And it'll go on the end there, and then we'll connect it together with these 2x4s. Now these are pre-stained treated boards that you can get, but you can't get those 4x4s in that treated color. So we're gonna take some stain that I have left over from another project, and it will match this pretty much identically. I've used it before, so it should be pretty good. So we'll match these boards and stain them and treat them that way they don't go rotting on us. Now these are cedar posts, and this is a pine post. I would much rather use a cedar post because they're much better at preserving themselves because they naturally don't rot very quickly. But in the Northwest where we live, it's pretty dry climate, and I'm not too worried about this, especially since I'm sealing it with the stain sealer. So we'll get these put on, and then once we get the deck boards, we'll put it on and make the video look nice at the end. So anyways, let's see what we can get into. So the original deck had this portion of it going from this post to a post that was over there where you can see the siding is missing. And so it was from there to there. So I just went ahead and took it off and saved it. And I knew I was gonna be able to use it for this section here. So I was able to turn it and put it from here to here. I just had to trim off a tiny bit there to make it fit, and it fit perfectly and it looks great. So now all we have to do is recreate this here and here using those 2x4s and then some of those spindles. That'll be pretty easy, but I figured I'd show you while I'm here. So sometimes poles, depending on your deck framing, is hard to get level in both directions. So these are pretty much perfectly level or plumb. But I'm using these lag bolts to hold them in place so they're nice and sturdy, two on this side, two on this side, so it won't wobble very much. And then the second pole will help support as well. But even with those, or especially because of those bolts, sometimes when you tighten the lumber together, it will cause it to go one way or the other. And so this pole was leaning in a touch and this pole was leaning out a touch because of those bolts. And so now I can take that ratchet strap and run around the poles right there, and you tighten it, and it's gonna pull those poles together, giving you a nice tight fit on those 2x4s right there. And then we just screwed it back to the pole like they had before. And their reveal is made so this sits right on the plane of these. And so you can see, if you look down it, it should be perfect from this to this. So we're matching that. So let's go ahead and build that section and call it a night.